Whoa, 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 look at how huge this thing is. You guys, that's an alligator right there. It's headed my way. Yeah, this dessert should definitely win an award, like an Oscar award or something. This is New Orleans. With a population of almost 400,000, New Orleans is one of the big hotspots in America, known for its rich history, jazz culture, and of course, great food. Have you been? Hey there, this is Steve from Rockstar Eater, and in this episode, I'm going to be taking you on my epic 100-hour journey to New Orleans, Louisiana. In this full documentary, I'll show you the best of everything, what to eat, where to stay, and what to see in this nice city. So get ready for a comprehensive viewing experience because this is going to be the biggest New Orleans food and travel video you're going to find anywhere on YouTube. And if you are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell because I post these food and travel videos weekly you don't want to miss out on. So go ahead, do that right now. And with that being said, let's go to New Orleans. And this is my first time in New Orleans. I've never even been here for a layover, so this is going to be quite a new adventure for me. But I've been wanting to come for some time to see a lot of the sights, but of course try the food. And that's what I'm going to do right now because I haven't eaten all day. So I made it to my first spot, which is Clessy's Restaurant. Clessy's is one of the most popular seafood restaurants you can find in New Orleans. And right now, the crawfish is in season. So this is really the spot to go to for live, delicious crawfish. So yes, we're gonna go in and we're gonna check out this really awesome seafood experience. As the story goes, Clessy's has been around since 2013. It started out as a pop-up, and because of how successful this was, it turned into this brick and mortar establishment that I am at right now. It is a family business. It has been featured on nationally syndicated TV shows. So it looks like it is really the place to be, especially for seafood. So like I said, a lot of people come here for their boiled seafood, which you can get in a platter. You can get the pot. You see, look at all the goodies that you can have in there. So not just crawfish, but also shrimp, which I heard is super good here. Raw oysters, definitely a big thing in New Orleans, so got to get some of that. And look, even more on this side. Ooh, po' boy sandwiches, jambalaya plate. Yeah, this is like the entire Cajun food experience. All right, guys, this is Jarvis. He's the restaurant manager and the boil master for today. We're going to be making some of that seafood boil, right?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. Yeah, so we get our crawfish in live every single day. We sit them on this table, which is called the walking table, and y'all can see how they walking down the table to where we drop them off in a little champagne basket, and then we purge them after that to get all the guck out of them, get all the dirt off of them. Then the next step is we start boiling. And the thing about boiling crawfish, the key to getting your crawfish to soak perfectly is the warmer the water, the faster and the better they soak. So we cook in this one pot, and then after that, we season this pot in a day, and we leave this pot to stay cool. And we transfer the crawfish from here over there up in the ice chest. At least 1,000 pounds of crawfish a day. Yeah, about
1,000?
Yeah, about 1,000 pounds of crawfish.
A day?
A day.
No kidding, you serious?
No kidding whatsoever. Yeah, the line be from up there where the host stand is at, all the way down this ramp.
So basically you're just mixing all the spices in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Letting that sieving be evenly coated on all your crawfish.
Okay, so you said that seasoning was made of what again?
A little cayenne pepper, garlic powder, salt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this corn is also kind of cooked in that same...
Yeah, in the same seasoning. We get the pot as hot as we could get it, and then we turn the water off, sit the corn in there, and really let it absorb that seasoning.
I think Clessy's is one of the few seafood restaurants where you can watch them make live crawfish, as in like it's all out on display. They would boil it and they would serve it right up to you. So if you guys want the show as well as the taste, then Clessy's is definitely the spot. Look at that, scooping it all up, almost like scooping ice into a tray.
You don't want to try to get over on the guests. A lot of people would weigh the crawfish off with the lemon on there. Here we take the lemon off as we went.
Oh, so it has some sides too?
Yeah, we got the sausage.
Sausage. Okay, that sounds good. Some corn too.
Got some nice corn.
Yes.
Really soaked up in that water. Got some good flavor on there. Potatoes.
Potatoes.
You know, everybody love potatoes.
Okay.
Get you some of that garlic butter. The potatoes better with that garlic butter.
Oh, okay.
Garlic butter better, baby. Garlic butter better.
All right, it looks like we got some shrimp on there too.
Yeah.
All right. What's that?
That's garlic.
Garlic, okay.
Yeah, we do boiled garlic as well.
Oh.
Clove on there. Then we're gonna finish that off with some snow crab.
Snow crab.
2 of them half-pound legs on there.
Oh, this
we
is
do our snow crabs a little bit different from everybody else. Most people just boil them with more butter compared to we boil them with the crawfish seasoning boil that we cook the crawfish in. So one of the cool things about here is we're in this oyster recycling program to where every oyster that my man's Kurt shucked, we send them in little trash bins and they're cleaned and put into little mini sacks. And what they do is they're restoring the coastal shores so that the land is not being damaged by the waves, which is a pretty cool thing. You know, everything has a second purpose most times.
This just shows that the crawfish boil is not the only thing they have here. Back here in the kitchen, they are making a whole lot of other things like the raw oysters, as well as all the other Cajun classics that you can find on the menu. So it looks like you can get an all-around good Cajun dining experience here at this restaurant, which I'm open to because it's my first time in Louisiana.
All right, so this is raw oysters, kind of our southern style here, served with horseradish cocktail sauce and your crackers. First, you want to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on there. This actually kills some of that extra bacteria that you'll find in that seawater, that Gulf water that you have down here. A lot of people like horseradish mixed in with the cocktail sauce, but what we can do here is just put a little bit right onto the oyster, just a little bit on the tip of the prong there is all you really need. Throw a little cocktail sauce on there, however much you want. It's up to your taste. I'd like just a little bit. And that oyster's good to go right off the shell, but of course, here in the South, we do enjoy a cracker.
Oh, so it goes on top of the cracker.
Yep, you just slide it right there, and then you're good to eat.
And what I really like about Clessy's is this outdoor seating. It has like this backyard barbecue family meal type of vibe. It's pretty rustic. In the summertime, I heard the weather gets pretty humid and nasty here, but right now it's such a good time to eat outdoors. So yes, I came at a perfect time to enjoy stuff like this. First time eating food of any kind in New Orleans, so I am super excited. And seafood is definitely one of the things that you should eat when you are here in New Orleans. So of course I'm gonna take advantage of this. Wow, that is pretty mind-blowing. It's big, it's so clean tasting, and it's so fresh, full of so much flavor. The other pro tip is to put your crackers to good use. Oysters are one of the absolute must-try seafood in New Orleans. That's what I heard when I came here, and so far, I'm getting a good first impression. This is such amazing oysters. And this is also another popular thing on the menu, the seafood platter, the fried seafood platter that comes with a little bit of everything. So it has the shrimp. Look at the way it's breaded. It's almost like a cornmeal mixed breading. That's pretty interesting. Along with some catfish and some fried oysters, and as well as your crawfish mac and cheese. That shrimp is so big, it's nice and fresh. Has a bite to it. So I guess if you don't know what fried seafood to get, shrimp is definitely the way to go. Catfish. Ooh, that thing is so tender, it just falls right off. So you have to be careful with this thing. I thought the shrimp was good. Man, this catfish, I think we have a new winner here. Seriously, one of the best fried catfishes I've had in any restaurant. Woo, I'm having so much fun. You see? This is definitely a foodie city, I can already tell. I think that's probably my favorite one of the three. Seems like every time I eat one, it just gets better and better. Now the seafood choices, you can order them individually. Like you can get the shrimp one, you could get the oyster one, you could get the catfish one. But I would say just get the whole combination platter because you get to sample a little bit of everything and it's so worth it. That works. Really rich tasting cheese. Bits of that crawfish inside too. Now me personally, I'm not the biggest mac and cheese fan out there, so if it's one of those things that's like a side on the menu, I'd rather just get something else. But I can certainly appreciate it if it's one of the popular items at a restaurant. If they really know how to make it well, I can tell from an objective standpoint that it's good. And this is definitely pretty good. Yes, so if you love mac and cheese, you should get it. And since we are in Louisiana, got to get some jambalaya, right? Yeah, this is a bestseller here. So this jambalaya has chicken and sausage inside. Jambalaya is a little bit spicy, so just letting you know. And it comes with some of that toast on the side. And first time trying jambalaya in Louisiana. This is a life experience, right? The rice is kind of creamy, and that's the way a lot of jambalayas taste anyways. I have not had enough jambalayas in my life, no less here in New Orleans, to really compare this to other jambalayas. But based on what I heard from the staff, this is supposedly some of the best jambalaya that you can find in all of New Orleans. So if you come here and for some reason you don't want to eat the seafood, or you want to add something on top of your seafood boil mix, jambalaya is definitely one to try. Obviously, have to try their seafood boil, right? The platter, which has the crawfish, it's $8.99 per pound today, market price, but you might want to check because these prices vary. Also some snow crab legs, their famous shrimp, potatoes, sausages, corn, a lot of goodies. When I've had crawfish in the past, whether it's at a buffet restaurant or a seafood boil back in LA, it was never fresh. It was always frozen. It wasn't really that juicy. This is like the total opposite of it. And by the way, they do give you this big plate so that you can put all your garbage on there. So be sure to pile this really high. Oh yeah, you come with a big appetite, you will, right? Wow, that is so marvelous. I love the seasoning too. It has like that garlicky Cajun flavor, paprika, a little bit spicy too. I noticed that. It's quite something. Since I heard so much about their shrimp, might as well give it a try too, right? Yeah, for sure, when you come here, get the shrimp. Because the crawfish boil, at least in this form, is not going to be here all the time. This is a seasonal item. But the shrimp definitely is going to be here all the time. Look at that, they even put this garlic bulb in here too. Have you ever seen anything like that before? It's like so much garlic in your mouth. It's so soft, almost like eating mashed potato. Garlic is good for you, so you should be very happy they include something like this. You know, good for your health. By the way, all their sauces here are house made. If you want to eat more of the natural flavor of the seafood, then of course you should eat it by itself, but I think the sauce adds a really good taste to it as well, so you should try it every now and then with your seafood. So you got your seafood and your vegetables. Don't know what to really say about this one. I mean, it's corn, it tastes good. Add some balance to the meal. It's nice and crunchy, it's sweet. I always like corn with my seafood boil. Of course, I've had seafood boils before, but I don't think I've had it made like this before, because the other ones that I've had in the past had a lot of that thick, garlic-filled Cajun sauce that was just smothered all over it or mixed into it with very similar seafoods, although not as fresh, but very recognizable seafoods. Here, the spices are cooked into a broth that's cooked into the seafood, and that's the difference. Like, you really taste it when you taste the broth. Like the soup, you can taste that spice. It's a little bit spicy, I can taste it. And of course, I have to try the po' boy too. First time trying po' boy in Louisiana. So I got mine with fried oyster, although you could get it with hot sausage or shrimp or catfish. I felt like eating fried oysters today. So the po' boy sandwich, if you've never heard about it before, it's pretty much a baguette with veggies like tomato, shredded lettuce, pickles, mayo, and your choice of protein. I got the fried oysters. First time trying po' boy sandwich in New Orleans. Wow, that's quite a mouthful. That French baguette is so big and so perfectly crispy. Once again, I can't rave enough about the fried oysters. It's one of my favorite things here. So you're definitely going to like the sandwich. If you like fried oysters, you put it into your po' boy, it's a knockout. Like I said, maybe right now would be the best time to come since the weather is really nice, because in the summer it could be very hot here. If you guys are looking for a place to stay specifically in the French Quarter, there is this pretty nice hotel right behind me called Bourbon Orleans Hotel. Yes, it is right in the French Quarter, so if you want to walk everywhere around the French Quarter, then this is an ideal hotel. It's not the cheapest hotel around, but it's also not the most expensive. But I heard it is pretty nice and accommodating, so I'm gonna show you what this hotel looks like. Vintage look. Yeah, almost like an upscale hotel. And then you would check in right over here. And I guess this is also kind of worth mentioning. Apparently, Bourbon Hotel is a haunted hotel, and they've had these different stories of sightings that they have seen everywhere. Now, this is where being a Christian is actually going to be very beneficial to you, because if you are in the Holy Spirit, through Christ, obviously, these demons won't bother you. But if you're not, I cannot guarantee that they'll stay away. And check this out. They even have a pool out here. Let me show you before it gets dark. Ooh. Oh, that's pretty nice, right? I heard that this pool is popular during the day and during the night. So I'm here in April. Not quite as many people in the pool as you would find like in the summertime, but you know, it's actually not that cold. Like here in New Orleans right now, it's about in the upper 70s. Pretty humid too. You can totally go for a swim. This hotel also has this awesome cocktail bar. It is attached to the hotel, so you can enter in from the other side. But this is the entrance from Bourbon Street, and this is just one of many cocktail bars that you can find that's lined up blocks and blocks on Bourbon. So if you don't know where else to go and you're staying here, then yeah, you could definitely come here. So there are about 6 stories in this hotel, and that is actually my room right there, the Andrew Jackson Suite. Okay, let's check it out. Wow. Okay, well, first of all, when you come in here, there's this bathroom. Okay, it's like half a bathroom with no bathtub, but it does have the sink. And then going this way, got some chairs right there if you want to just kind of relax. And here's another sink right over here, along with a greeting card. Oh, that's very nice. There's some water too. So happy. And check this out, there's also this. Once you open it, it takes you right out into the famous Bourbon Street. You see that over there? Oh man, I can tell it's gonna be so loud at nighttime. Wow, yikes. So yeah, you pretty much see everything over here. See, this whole hotel is pretty classy. So I got the suite, and my suite is actually 2 levels. So you'd go up the stairs like this, and I don't think I've been to a hotel quite like this before. in my life. And up here, that is the bed. This is where you would store all your clothes next to your bed. And we got a mini fridge. All right, that's pretty cool. If you have leftovers, this could come in handy. And in this closet right here, you would hang all of your shirts. There's also a safe lock down there. But there's even more. So here, this is where the master bathroom is at, with the sink right there, toilet, as well as the shower. And when we leave the bathroom, there's even more. So you come to this side, oh, there's like another kind of a relaxation room with this sofa and this TV. So the prices here differ depending on when you come to this hotel. So visit the website so that you can get more information on that. It's going to be in the video description link. So yes, this is a pretty good choice for a hotel to stay at when you are here at the French Quarter in New Orleans. If you can just get over that, haunted hotel stuff, then I think you should be pretty fine here. This is where all the tourists pretty much go, in this part of New Orleans, this neighborhood where you'll find the famous Bourbon Street that runs about a mile in both directions. And at nighttime, it gets pretty boisterous here because that's where you're gonna see all the activities happening at night, like the bars, the jazz clubs, restaurants. I would say not the most family-friendly destination, especially at night, but it's for, I guess, a different kind of audience. And one of the things that you should do in New Orleans is to join a walking tour. So right now I am doing the ghost walking tour, which shows you to all of these sites around the French Quarter that are supposedly haunted or have some sort of a ghost story behind it. The tour company is called Cajun Encounters Tour Company, which is one of the biggest ones. So if you guys don't know which tour company to join to give you this walking tour, Cajun Encounters with the one to go.
A father and his daughter, and they led very dramatic and interesting lives. Muriel's got the restaurant. They actually restored the seance room, so you can.
2 hours later, the tour is now done. It is 10 p.m. and I am pretty tired. Now, me personally, I don't think this tour was exactly my cup of tea, but I can say that the tour guide was definitely very knowledgeable. He knows his history, he knows the context of everything that he's talking about. So in that sense, if you enjoy narration and a lot of walking around the French Quarter, then this is a tour you should sign up for. Yeah, you're gonna be doing a lot of walking, so you're gonna be exhausted. Day 2 started out early with an all-day excursion to explore the Oak Alley Plantation. It's about an hour's drive west of New Orleans in a town called Vacherie. This is one of the best things to see when you are around New Orleans, especially if you are into American Civil War history, then this site is one you cannot miss. Since this dates back to the Civil War era, this was a slave plantation, so you had many slaves, men and women, working these fields. There's a lot of history here. There's quite a lot of things to explore. West Garden, East Garden, the big house. Yeah, I got to show you that because that's really the main attraction here. And the alley and all these other things, Sugarcane Theater. And I must mention that this is part of the Louisiana tour company. So if you guys are looking for a really good tour company that could take you to this Oak Alley Plantation, that can take you to the swamp, or both of them, Louisiana tour company, is certainly one you can consider. And so far, it's been pretty good. Very good tour guide, good narration. It's very funny and engaging. And it's a good thing there's actually a map of this place. It's pretty big, let me tell you. See, this historical site has all of these exhibits that you can take a look at. I'll try my best to look at all of them. I have about 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. All the way down there is the big house where the slave owners lived about 180 years ago. And then when you come to this side, all these homes is a slave quarter. And this is where all of the slaves who worked these sugar canes lived in, apparently. and these were all preserved, and some of them are decorated, explaining the history, the significance of this place and of probably each of these homes. Well, let's check it out. And looks like it's kind of blocked off, but you kind of get the picture. All right, it's kind of a recreation of, I guess, what it used to look like. That's one of the beds right there. I don't mind staying in one of those beds. And it's just like a chair right there, a water basin. I could be wrong, but I think this is the tool that they use to wash clothes or maybe dishes. Looks like some of these house exhibits you can actually walk in, just like this one, which has these different artifacts up against the wall. The different tools that they use to work the sugar canes. You even have a brick in there, and you got some pottery. Even though this was only roughly 200 years ago, it looks like it could have came out of somewhere like 1,000 years ago. While these designs are simple, slaves were frequently shackled with much more elaborate designs, some making the man or woman completely unable to move or lie down. Yikes. So I guess the whole idea of this neck mechanism is to restrain movement so that it's difficult to run away or hide. See, feeling one of these things really transports you back to that time, so you don't just see it and hear about it, but you feel it. Between 1836 and the Civil War, over 220 men, women, and children were enslaved at Oak Alley. And I think all the names on this wall are the people who were the slaves at this plantation. All these people. And I'm pretty sure their descendants are somewhere amongst us today, but I'm not sure if all of them are in Louisiana though. Maybe some of them live in LA, just like where I live. So I always wondered what that thing wrapped around the head was, but now this explains it. Tillon is a piece of material wrapped around a woman's head. This is quite interesting. This is like seeing something out of a movie like Gone with the Wind, you know, one of those American historical epics from about 200 years ago. Yeah, you can really still see how a lot of this is well preserved, and it's very scenic. And when you look at this, these were apparently the bathrooms that the slaves used back then, men and women. So I guess you can kind of say it's like an ancient version of a porta potty. These are locked up. I cannot go in there, but it would be so cool if I can actually show you, right? Wow, this is pretty cool. So leading up to the big house, you'll see all of these larger than life trees. I rarely see trees like this, so I am super excited right now. That big house has been there for about 180 years. It used to be a sugar cane plantation in the back that was worked by slaves, and I heard that the sugar canes were very hard to produce, but also very valuable during that time. Right now, nobody's living in that house. It's like a museum. No slaves, of course, are working in the back, and no sugar canes.
So here in the lavender room, you can see not only her original furnishings, but
Now, I would show you what's inside of there, but they do not allow for indoor photography or filming, so this is as far as I can get. So I already went in there. It's totally worth it, especially if you want to learn about the history of all the different rooms and the artifacts. And they do have a drink station over here as well, where if you want some refreshments, especially if it's really hot, it's a very good idea actually. And just like with most historical sites that you go to, they do have things to eat here. In fact, they have a restaurant called Oak Alley Restaurant. I don't have time to eat here today, but if you guys are hungry, they got food here, and they also have a gift shop. At least I can check that out. Oh, looks like they're making something here by the entrance. Pecan praline. I don't know if I've had this before, but I heard it kind of tastes like a cracker. And there are pecans in here, and it's being fresh made. Oh man, that is so nice. I want to hang this up in my apartment. where would I put it? See, they have everything here. They got a lot of stuff here. Like they got your hats, even some Oak Alley jam for your bread, maybe for your muffins or something. So it looks like there are two eateries here. One is the Plantation Café, which has the drinks and things that are faster, you know, more to go. But then the actual restaurant itself is right over here, or you can sit down, order a nice meal, relax. Like I said, I don't have time to do that today, but I'm pretty sure their food's all right. I mean, Cajun Creole food. Maybe I'm gonna try one of these pecan pralines. I'm so curious, what does this taste like?
Yes,
they're about $2.99 each. I don't think I've ever had anything like that before. So for sure, there's a lot of sugar in here. There's butter too, and I taste it. Lots of pecan, so it's very nutty. It almost tastes like eating a chocolate bar in some ways. So it doesn't taste like a cracker, but the taste-wise, it's very good. I think you should get it. Looks like my 2 hours are pretty much up. So now I am moving on to the next destination. For sure, you gotta visit Oak Alley Plantation. I think this is a pretty cool spot. But the next one, the swamp tour, that's gonna be pretty fun, but in a different way. And now on to my next adventure. This one is going to be pretty exciting. So I'm going to be riding an airboat to tour the swamps of Louisiana. I'm here in the city called Marrero, which is kind of southwest of New Orleans. And once again, I want to give a shout out to Louisiana tour companies. This is a really awesome tour company. So if you're looking for one to take you around the city of New Orleans, or even to do this swamp tour, the Oak Plantation, this is definitely a good one. Well, here we go. We are revved up, and they have these earphones or these earmuffs because the sound is pretty loud. Probably a good idea to have them on. Oh man, I don't think I've seen an alligator this up close before. Oh wow, he's actually picking it up. Look at that. Oh. So it looks like a lot of these alligators are between 4 to 6 feet in this area. Some of them can actually go 11 to 12 feet. That is pretty scary. As long as you stay in your boat, I think you should be okay.
Oh, smooches.
Oh, well, at least it's friendly.
It's not.
Is he-
This is the definition of do not try this at home.
Do not try this at home. Oh, do these things eat people too?
Only in Florida.
Only in Florida. Here they're vegetarians. This entire tour takes about an hour, 45 minutes. You go through a lot of swamp mazes. This is my first time going through a swamp. You don't see too many of these things in Los Angeles. This is the Spanish moss that grows in the trees all around the swamp. Ooh, it's so light, so airy. There's a little one right there.
First founded, they would survey areas like
Little
this with a
alligator. Like this?
Yep.
Wow, I'm holding it right here.
He's so cute.
Yes, but still it has teeth, so you have to be careful. Okay, I think I'm gonna pass it off to the next person.
Welcome back.
I'm good.
Come on.
Ah, I feel like I've just been electrocuted. Look at my hair. It's so windy. When you're on that airboat, it's pretty fun though, I do admit. Even if you guys don't care about alligators and swamps and marshes, at least you get a nice relaxing ride through that water. With my sightseeing done for the day, I headed back to New Orleans and decided to snack at one of the most legendary cafes in town, Café du Monde. This eatery has been around since 1862 and is considered to be one of the most iconic spots that you can check out in New Orleans. If you love beignets, then this is one you definitely need to check out. And it's a good thing that the menu looks pretty simple. Got your coffee up there, and then the beignets itself. So order a 3 French donuts, $3.85. Let's do it. Got their 2 specialties. This one's the Café au lait, which is their specialty coffee. So it's half coffee and half hot milk. You could get it decaf or caffeinated. And these are the famous beignets. Look at that. They are so powdered up. There's like a lot of that white powdered sugar all over it. I love it. And the good thing about Café du Monde is they have very flexible hours. They open in the morning and they go till like 11 at night, pretty much every day. They have takeout, but then you can also dine in as well, which is what I decided to do, just to kind of relax. And I learned that they take cash only, so when you come here, be sure to have some cash ready. Ooh, that is so nice. It feels so, like, it makes you feel so warm when you drink it. I mean, literally, it is hot, but it really does taste like coffee and milk at the same time. So that definitely is true advertising. Half milk, half coffee. So remember, you can get it caffeinated or decaf. And they got some of this on the side. You know, you want to add some sugar in. If you got a sweet tooth, then of course, by all means, add your sugar in. Yeah, low sugar is pretty good. But then again, this has quite a lot of sugar on it. Look at that. The beignets, the world famous beignets. Whoa. Whoa, look, that is crazy. Look at that, that's like a chunk of white sugar right there. Now, if you guys don't know what beignets are, they are the Louisiana style donuts. They're often in these square shapes. It's about almost like an inch thick with a lot of white powder. It's just slightly, just a little bit crispy, but inside, it's so fluffy, like spongy, fluffy, almost like eating bread. And then it is a little sweet after you bite into the top of this because there's a lot of that powdered sugar over it. Maybe you can also dip it in like this. How would that change the flavor? That actually works too. Okay, yeah, for sure. Get your coffee. Get some of these. Get your coffee, and you are all set. The next day began with brunch at the Court of Two Sisters, which is the only buffet you'll find in the French Quarter, known for its daily jazz brunch buffet, which you can get for $36. With almost 80 foods to choose from, this is your go-to all-you-can-eat buffet in New Orleans. Especially if you love Cajun and Creole food, then this is going to be your ideal spot. Just by looking at this restaurant, you know it is a pretty old vintage spot. And they do serve this jazz brunch buffet during the day, but it's not entirely a buffet restaurant because at night, starting from 5:30, they have a pretty awesome a la carte dinner menu. They have a full cocktail bar. They have a lot of events here like weddings, special occasions. They even have the courtyard seating, which is a big attraction, but since it's rainy today, it's closed. But it's okay. I mean, I'm just here to concentrate on the food anyways, right? So I guess all of this is the salad bar, and it's a good thing they do label everything so you know exactly what you're eating. Crawfish pasta. All right, never had this before. Made with domestic crawfish. And down there is more crawfish pasta, looks like. That one is the curry chicken with pecans. Oh, that sounds great actually. And this one is the pepper jack cheese. And we got curry chicken with pecans. Very nice. And that one is the chicken salad. And we got some mild cheddar along with some more chicken salad with almonds. Then down here we got tuna salad. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of this, but if you guys are, knock yourself out. Along with some Swiss cheese and more tuna salad and potato salad, which I think is this one right here. Yes. And then we also got some black olives. Kind of hard to see, but they're there. So I guess that's the salad itself. We got some mixed greens, and you need your salad dressing, French dressing, as well as ranch dressing. Yes, I recognize those. Moving along to the right, marinated beet salad, and some shredded cheese, along with pepperoncini. Then down here, got some tomatoes, like cherry tomatoes, I believe. Cucumbers, sliced cucumbers. That is mushroom. Down here, oh, that looks pretty good. Tomato and mozzarella, nice. And this is called the 3-bean salad. It's vegan, yeah, so they got some vegan accommodations. I just noticed that on this other side, we got 2 more salad dressings, more options. This is the balsamic vinaigrette, I like that, as well as some blue cheese dressing. This is cornbread, so it does have gluten in it, just letting you know, as well as some French bread, which also has gluten in it. See, this is where you're gonna get your money's worth. Look at the pile of boiled shrimp. And that is the cocktail sauce right there. And of course you have to have your fruits as well, right? Pineapples look very refreshing. And that right there is some cantaloupes. And that is grape jelly. Oh, I don't know if I've had that before. That looks pretty awesome. And strawberries, along with grapes and sour cream. Wow, that is so interesting. Okay. That one looks appetizing. The mixed berry yogurt. So at the carving station, at least for now, they got your ham. This is always good for breakfast, right? You eat it with some eggs, along with your ham glaze. Pour this right over your ham. Ooh, and this is turtle soup. I heard a lot about this one in New Orleans. Never had a turtle soup before of any kind. Never had turtles, so yes, today will be my first time. That is some rice, like basic white rice, along with chicken and andouille gumbo. And then we got some red beans, which I think would go good over the rice. And some scrambled eggs, looks very nice, huh? And some grits. You see, this is very Louisiana. I'm telling you, it's awesome. And then we got some grillades. It's like chicken, right?
Veal.
Veal, oh wow, yeah, this is veal. Yeah, and also some cream spinach, along with this corn, garlic potatoes, and glazed sweet potatoes. This is so awesome. I'm seeing so many things I've not seen in buffets back in Los Angeles. We got some vegetable quiche. Gotta get your veggies, a lot of it, right? As well as some of that Cajun jambalaya. Very good, yes. And then we got some hash browns right there. And this one is the andouille sausage and bacon, kind of mixed in. But actually, no, the sausage is right there, the bacon's right down there. Bread pudding, and this is a very New Orleans thing, so I'm gonna try that. And this is your banana foster. Goes really good over the bread pudding or the ice cream. Looks like we're gonna go with round 1, as usual. This is one of the first things that caught my eye, the curry chicken. I'm gonna try it. So I guess you pick it up using these silverware that's much like the ones you use at your table. The menu is going to change up a little bit once about 11 to 11:30 rolls around, so I'm gonna stick around to try that and to show you guys what they have up there for lunch, because it's pretty nice and there's no time limit to eat at this buffet. So if you come here and you want to stay here all day, then power to you. Wow, that tastes just like an Indian curry, but sweeter. I didn't expect that sweet flavor. I mean, if you go to Trinidad, Tobago, they have a chicken curry that tastes kind of like this as well, but not as sweet. I think me personally, I really like it more on the savory side, but it's an interesting take on the curry. So if you want to try a new kind of a curry, they got it here at this Cajun Creole buffet. Cherry tomatoes are always refreshing. And I think the pairing with mozzarella cheese, always pretty perfect. And this cheese it has like a bite to it. It's pretty hard, so it's not like the melt in your mouth type of cheese. I didn't even know this was mozzarella cheese. When you look at it, it kind of looks like a piece of cooked garlic or something. But it's cheese, I assure you. And if you guys hear that music in the background, it's not a soundtrack. They have a live band here at this restaurant. During this jazz brunch buffet, you get some nice ambiance, some nice food, and some good music. It tastes just like a cornbread. I think it's probably a little bit on the dry side, but still it's pretty tasty because I don't eat cornbread that often, so I'll eat it like everywhere I go. Usually when you go to all-you-can-eat buffets, I know you're supposed to concentrate on things that are super expensive to get your money's worth. But a lot of these things, I've never tried before, even in a salad bar, so I'm gonna open it up a little bit today. This is one of the most popular soups you can find in New Orleans, is the turtle soup. Wow, that has a pretty strong flavor. I mean, I don't know what they put inside of this. It's definitely some spices that's very reminiscent of what I've had in Caribbean and African cuisines, but it's like when you drink it, it really punches you in the tongue. The turtle itself, to me, tastes very similar to chicken. Exactly like chicken. All right, well, I didn't think it was going to be that bad because a lot of people I know had turtle before, whether it was in a soup or in some other dish, and they always told me it tastes really good. Bacon and ham, definitely recognizable, but I want to see what it tastes like here at this restaurant. Ham is pretty thick. So that glaze over it kind of has like an apple flavor. Very fruity. I think it works. Eggs are solid. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. I've had eggs like this in so many different kinds of restaurants. But hey, if you guys like your eggs, gotta get your eggs. Red beans is a very characteristic food of New Orleans. I decided to put it over rice because that's how you're supposed to eat it, right? Red beans over rice. That definitely tastes like a southern dish. I've had variations of the red beans over rice before in other restaurants, but never in New Orleans. How exciting. I think this is the only all-you-can-eat buffet in New Orleans that has Cajun Creole food all-you-can-eat. Haven't heard of any others. I mean, there are like a few other kinds of buffets around New Orleans, but at least for here in French Quarter, this is the only all-you-can-eat Cajun Creole buffet you're gonna find. I don't know if there's any other buffets in the French Quarter, actually. Now on to more of the foods in the hot food section. That's where all the money's at. I really loaded up on a lot of the vegetable hot foods on this plate. Almost looks like something out of an Indian restaurant. You know, when you go to the buffets and you get all the veggies, which are very good. I could probably make a buffet just out of these items. That cream spinach, when you eat it, you feel like you are in a steakhouse now. And it tastes just like a typical cream spinach. A little bit on the bitter side, but still pretty enjoyable. That corn is pretty good too. It's like their version of cream corn. I'm telling you, all we need is just the steak or the prime rib or something, and this thing is complete. By the way, I am going to check out those lunch items in a bit because they're bringing them out very shortly, so stay tuned. Wow, those sweet potatoes with the pecans, one of the best things up there. Maybe I'm just into sweet potatoes and things that are nutty, but you can't go wrong with mashed potatoes too, right? Very garlicky. I still think I like the sweet potato ones better, but garlic mashed potatoes, it's so savory. It works with any meal. Like you put proteins on it, chicken, beef, whatever. Good combination. Vegetable quiche is something I have not had in a long time. I think that's what quiche pretty much is eggs with the veggies that's been baked, I think, almost like a pie. Kind of reminds me of eating an omelet, like an omelet cake or something. And this is the first time I am trying gumbo of any kind in New Orleans or Louisiana. Wow, that gumbo is so soupy. I don't think I've had gumbo like this before. And the spices aren't even that terribly strong. I think I prefer this one over the turtle soup just because I like my flavors not as spice driven or intense. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some spices in here, but I feel that it has more of like a pleasant taste on your mouth. So if you guys like all you can eat gumbo, yeah, this is your spot right here. So it looks like they just brought out the rib eye roast. This is undoubtedly the biggest attraction you can find at this buffet. Yes, let's do it. Awesome. No more ham glaze. We got the au jus. Yes, au jus. And then we got to have your condiments. Like we got sour cream, horseradish sour cream mix, and the horseradish. So this is one of the new items they brought out. These are glazed ribs. Yeah, definitely a lunch item. Ooh, look, they even got duck here too. Duck a la orange or orange. Orange duck. And we also got some shrimp étouffée, classic Cajun. I'm loving it. Shrimp pasta, also another popular Cajun food. They got it here. And fried catfish. That looks pretty epic. I'm gonna get that. I am already getting kind of full. So right when I get to all the good lunch items, it's like probably gonna end with round number one. That's okay, at least let me taste a little bit of it before I get out of here, right? Okay, tastes just like a prime rib. It actually tastes quite nice. It tastes better than even some of the prime rib I've had in buffets back home, back in Southern California. I mean, it's not like eating at a fine dining steakhouse, but it is pretty good. So if you're paying $36, you definitely should focus on stuff like this. I think this is the first time I've had duck made like this in a buffet. Orange flavored. I mean, I'm not surprised. That's exactly what it was advertised as. Now, duck is not something that I usually get when I go to buffets, but I really wanted to try this flavor. That's very interesting too. I mean, not mind-blowing, but definitely not bad. I think that orange citrusy flavor adds quite a nice touch to this dish, which I heard is actually a popular dish. And we got some of these pork ribs too. Yes, how could you go wrong with this? Wow, not bad. It's so tender. It kind of has a sweet barbecue glaze over it, which always works with ribs like this. I know people who would come to restaurants like these just to really load up on barbecue ribs. Oh, it's good though. Like I said, it's super. Ooh, you see? Breaks off just like that. Maybe I should have saved my stomach so I could have eaten more of this actually. This section is attached to the shrimp cocktail and the fruit. So I guess this is kind of like the dessert section. We got your ice cream in there. And you see, it's hard to see, but it's kind of melted. All right. So be sure to scoop all the way in the bottom to get it solidified. And then we also got some chocolate syrup. You just push that in order to dispense it, along with some whipped cream. And those are some brownies with pecan, and it is gluten. And then down here, we have some beautiful looking coconut layer cake. Got a lot of that here. Oh yeah. Along with some Oreo cookie cake. That is something I like to eat. Oreos, shakes, cakes, you name it. And lemon cake. Yeah, for sure, I'm gonna try that one. And then pecan pie. Just like with any other buffet, so many choices. I wish I could eat it all. I really wish I could, but that's just life. So you just gotta pick wisely. That's a good combination. So with the ice cream, they suggest that you put that banana over it, and then it's gonna be like, wow. It really is, yeah. So if you like that kind of like a banana flavored vanilla ice cream, you should totally put it over it. Pecan pie, it's always one of my favorites. I love it. I love pecans. I love this one. I am so curious to see what this lemon pie tastes like. Lemony, just like I predicted. I haven't had a lemon pie in a long time, so I'm enjoying it. Once again, $36, not the cheapest buffet around, but also not the most expensive. I can tell you, one of the most unique buffets you're gonna find. This is the hotel that I'm going to be staying at for the last 2 nights here in New Orleans, which is the old number 77 hotel. This is about half a mile west of the French Quarter. It's in the central business district. So if you guys decide you don't want to stay at the French Quarter for whatever reason, then you should consider this alternative here in the central business district. It's not even that far. It's about half a mile. You can get there fairly quickly. So let me show you what this hotel looks like. Right when you come into this hotel, you turn to the left-hand side And this is a very highly acclaimed restaurant called Compère Lapin. It is a, I don't know what kind of food they have here, but I heard it's really good. So if you're staying at this hotel and you're thinking of eating here, I think you'll be safe. And the good thing is if you like coffee, they do have a little coffee shop right here called Tula. There's nobody here right now, but they have it all, like coffees, breakfast. Oh yeah. Locally roasted coffee, French truck. If you guys are from around here, you'll recognize this is some high quality stuff they're using here. Oh, this is pretty interesting. This is called an Artomat. This, I heard, used to be a machine that sells cigarettes, but now they sell these little mini arts or whatever this thing is for about $5 each. So little art designs by various artists. See, that's the entrance from where I came. And this is a cool hallway. Right here, you're gonna see their art gallery. Yeah, it's like you see art on both sides of this hallway. And the good news is if you are into exercising, they have a fitness center so you can get your steps. Second floor, which is where my room is at somewhere. Okay, obviously got to make a right. So I'm gonna go, let's see, where's my room? Oh, it's actually right there. So close to the elevator, how convenient. Hopefully you'll get one of these kind of rooms too. Okay, there's always a sense of wonder when you discover your hotel for the first time, right? Oh. All right, so this is one of the premium king size rooms. Premium room with king size bed. So when you come in, I immediately see a couch over here. Brown design, and what is this? Is this like leather? Cowhide or something? Looks like it's kind of a multi-purpose desk where you can read, study, whatever you need to do. And that is a TV, which every hotel has. And I guess this is where you hang your clothes. Yeah, there's an ironing board there too. With an iron, that's always so helpful, right? And what about we take a look at the restroom? Okay, we got a bathroom there, sink, working good, very good. And then this side, towels, toilet, as well as a very modern looking shower. And then heading back out into the living room. So this hotel room looks very much like a studio, a very industrial, old school studio that I feel could have come out of like an arts district or something. Some complimentary snacks right there. And yeah, we got some cups over there. And that's a safe. I don't know if you guys can see, but that's a safe right there. Closed drawer. Got a little fridge. It opens with a key. And then some more storage space. And that right there is the king size bed. Very nice, huh? Then out here, it's a very rainy day today. A storm is going on outside, so that's why I'm glad I'm in here. So yes, check this out, old number 77 hotel. Everything's gonna be in the video description link if that helps you with your hotel search here in New Orleans. Later that night, I headed over to Doris Metropolitan, which is the highest rated steakhouse in New Orleans. It has much of what an American fine dining steakhouse has, but with a fascinating Middle Eastern twist to the food. This, of course, is going to be your alternative to the popular Cajun and Creole cuisine you can find in New Orleans. But if you guys are into steakhouses, then this is one I really encourage you to explore because it is really that good. And the thing I really like about this menu is that it's pretty small, so it makes ordering very easy. See, it's already starting off with some high-end stuff. Oyster caviar, if you got $200 to blow, there we go. And then the appetizers I heard are pretty awesome here, like the octopus, tomato salad, artichoke flour. I don't even know what to get. It all looks so good. Those are the mains if you don't want the steak. They got fish, they got shrimp, But I came here for the steak, and I think a lot of you guys will as well. See picanha, and then they got the dry aged selections of all sizes. Yeah, it goes up to like $160. But then if you want to do Japanese A5, they got like 6 ounce to 32 ounce, $350. Wow. All right, guys, this is Anthony. He's going to give us a tour of the dry aging room. How exciting.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right this way, guys. I like to say that this is where all the magic happens. This is our dry age facility. Every single piece of meat that we have in the restaurant. So we have prime cuts, which are not aged, and then we have our dry age cuts. All of our dry age cuts are aged between 25, 26, and 30 days. If you look around in here, you'll see that we start down here at the bottom with everything in bags, and we do a wet aging process for about 5 or 6 days. Then we bring them out of the bags and we place them on these racks. Here inside this room, it's 42 degrees, which stops the growth of bacteria, but also allows the meat to age. With every single loin that we age, by the time it's done and gets up here to the top before we butcher it, you've lost between 30 and 40% of the actual volume of the steak, which is why dry aged steaks are more expensive than a regular steak. But what you've lost in volume, you've made up for in flavor, because all of the enzymes from the outside of the meat eat down into the inside of it, which concentrates the flavor and also tenderizes it at the same time. Right here, this is something that we have that's a little bit special. These are our bone-in tenderloins. What this is because we butcher in-house, this is the very end of the tenderloin. And what we were doing is we were cutting off this piece right here and just grinding it up in the hamburger meat. But someone came up with the idea of making it a steak in and of itself, and so you can come in, and if you'd like to, we'll cut this off of here, cook it to whatever temperature you'd like us to, and then serve it to you on a meat board with some sage that's burning, some Cabernet infused sea salt, and some cracked black pepper. It's really a phenomenal dish. These are our prime tomahawks. As you can see, we currently don't have them available on the menu because we have to age them. These guys are not going to be available for about 3 weeks. They're only about 7 to 8 days into the aging process. You know, honestly, the thing that makes it kind of special here is that we don't have everything every time. You know, you can go to other places and the steaks are good, but you can get everything every time because it's mechanically done. Machines do all of the work, and Andrew cuts all of our steaks. So it really is a special process. And as a person who used to be very, very skeptical of dry aged steaks, I will say that I have had the light turned on for me and my eyes open for certain. These are, for example, these are all of our tenderloins that came in today. We order our products in a fashion so that we get all of our tenderloins on one day and all of our lamb chops. Tomorrow, we will start processing all of these when the New York strips and the ribeyes come in. And that way we're able to A, cycle through the meat that we need to, but also B, have enough room to take care of everything and have enough for all of our guests. People often ask me how much meat do we have in here at one time, and we spend about $10,000 a week on meat alone. So that times 4 weeks means that every 4 to 5 weeks we've got about $50,000 worth of actual purchase meat, and then, you know, margins in the restaurant business are about, you know, 0.4, so that's what, 90K in actual sales. All right, so this is our butcher section. All of the steaks that you saw that were butchered over there in the dry age room, we bring them here. They're on display, and the actual grill man pulls it from this display case, puts it into the sous vide and onto the grill itself right over here. We do sell butchered steaks, so we do every now and then have people come in and we tell them, you know, you get to pick the steak that you'd like to get. One of the other things we do try to do is that we try to accommodate people's taste. If someone asks for a leaner cut of a ribeye, then, you know, we'll do our best to accommodate that. Although a ribeye is not necessarily the type of steak you want to get a leaner cut to, we do try to accommodate whatever it is that people ask for. We have a culture of saying yes here.
34-ounce porterhouse. Look at that. We're seasoning it with some of that oil or butter.
Beef tallow.
Beef tallow. Starting off with two of some of their hottest appetizers. This one is the octopus. Oh, I love octopus. Yes, yes. So in the bottom, we got tzatziki, which is a yogurt And then bed of red onions, salad of smoked tomato, lemon sauce, chimichurri, seared okra halves, and the grilled octopus itself, which is sous vide for a few hours before they grill it. And the tomato salad, I heard, is a staff favorite. We got so much going on in here. Look how colorful that is. Lebna, za'atar seasoning, egg yolk, it's right in the center right there. Tomato done 4 ways, such as heirloom cherry, Roma, tomato skins, smoked tomatoes, black garlic, kalamata, olives, jalapeno. So for the salad, you're supposed to kind of mix up the yolk with the herbs, the seasoning, and it kind of becomes like the salad dressing. This is kind of an interesting concept. And then after that, you would mix it all around. Yes, spread all of that yolk around evenly along with all of the herbs. This is mainly a dinner spot, so they do open for lunch only on select days. I think during the weekends. Check on the website just to make sure. And since we are in the French Quarter, keep in mind that parking is extremely difficult. So you might want to find some other way to get here. Either walk here or take an Uber here or something. But I'm pretty sure it's worth it because I heard amazing things about this restaurant. That tastes like something out of a fine dining restaurant. Those tomatoes are so fresh and so refreshing. I think this is one of the most unique salads I've ever had in my whole life. And I definitely see the Middle Eastern influence in this one. You kind of taste it. Yeah, with those herbs. Definitely tastes like something I've had out of a Middle Eastern and Mediterranean restaurant. So this is the salad you got to get if you are a tomato fan. If you really love tomatoes, this is like tomato heaven right here. That tzatziki, look at that. Looks just like out of a Middle Eastern restaurant. Oh, wow. That's pretty mind-blowing. That is like one of the best tasting tzatziki's I've ever had. It's warm, it's creamy, it's rich tasting. Oh man, just the tzatziki itself is like already off to such a great start. Oh, I like it. Oh, it's a very tender octopus. It almost tastes like fish in some ways. See, there's like tomatoes and there's like all these onions. You got so much veggies all around in this very beautiful dish. That lemon juice is making this thing explode in so many directions, I'm telling you. Even that okra tastes so good too. Very earthy taste. Unless you don't like octopus, you should get it because it's not just the octopus. Everything is like the star of the show, which I'm super impressed with. All right, off to a good start. I have never seen bread like this before in a steakhouse. So they're all made in-house. We got the focaccia bread. It's that long piece right there, which I heard is kind of light and airy. And then that one is a sesame knot. You know, kind of like garlic knots in the pizza house. Sesame knot that's made of pita dough with sesame oil and sesame seeds. Wow. And then that one is the caramelized onion feta cheese knot. So this is a knot of another kind. And we got 3 kinds of butter there. Salted is the one all the way to the left. And then we got the za'atar, which is the bottom one. And then the sumac is the right one. Sumac is a Jordanian spice. And this is the olive oil mix that comes with your bread. There's tomato, jalapeno that's grinded up and kind of mixed together. We got some salt, kosher salt, as well as za'atar. So I think the best way to eat this is to mix this all up and then you can dip the bread inside of it. Bread is definitely a filler, so I have to try to be careful with this because I still have the main attraction, the steak coming out, right? But oftentimes I find that the bread in steakhouses are so good that I get so full by the time that steak comes out. Because steakhouses make it really good, and this one is really one of the most creative, inventive breads I've seen in a steakhouse. That's pretty epic. That is like the thickest piece of focaccia I've ever had. So it's kind of crispy on top. There's a lot of that olive oil that's over it. See, look how fluffy it is. Wow, that's so cool, huh? Yeah, so butter, dip it in just like that. That butter is good. I am so curious to see what does this pita not taste like. There's a first time for everything, right? This is like one of the best starter breads I've had in a steakhouse. Even if it were simpler, more traditional, I'd be so happy because I like breads of all kinds, but this, really, one of a kind. And here is one of the mains that's not the steak, but I had to try it because I heard it's quite a show stealer. So this is the prawns and polenta. So for $55, you get 2 Nigerian tiger prawns. It has andouille, smoked tomatoes, their house special Creole sauce, herb polenta, chimichurri, and Calabrian chilies. Oh, with this one, you got their house special Creole sauce. So this one definitely has some of that Creole influence, right? Wow, that polenta is very good. That Creole sauce is, wow, it's spicy. Ooh. Yeah, I see the little sausages in here too, the andouille. Yeah, I taste the smoked tomatoes inside too, which kind of makes it a little bit sweet, smoky. All right, everything underneath here is some of the most interesting foods I've ever had in my whole life. Never tasted anything like this before. Oh man, that thing is so big. Almost like eating a mini lobster. I definitely taste the Calabrian chili. I'm telling you, this thing has a kick to it. I mean, it's not spicy as in like if you were to go to a Thai restaurant and order like really spicy, but yeah, so if you like shrimp dishes that have like a Creole flavor that's kind of a little bit on the spicy side, like as a kick, this is it right here.
This is our porterhouse. So on one side, we've got our New York strip. Then on our other side, we have our filet, our tenderloin. We use butcher's terminology here, so we call it the tenderloin. Then we've also added a little bone marrow here. I like to call it beef butter. You take the inside of that, and for steaks that are not quite as fatty, if you want to add a little flavor, that adds a little flavor to the
Oh,
situation.
okay. Hey, and these are my sides. I got the heirloom carrots that's marinated in chimichurri, and it's tossed with honey passion fruit. Mushroom appetizer has 3 kinds of mushrooms, salt, pepper, heavy cream, veal demi-glaze. And then we got asparagus with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, aioli. This is always good. Moment of truth. Let's try this steak, at least for the New York strip side. Yes, yes. It's been a long time since I've had New York steak. I used to eat it a lot when I was younger. I guess I kind of outgrew it because I became more of like a ribeye type of fan. But it's still good. Brings back a lot of memories. Maybe I'll try some of that bone marrow on top. Yeah, there's some that's just like falling right out of the bone, just like that. I never would have thought of that idea. It's actually a great idea. You add the bone marrow on top, it's almost like adding some fat on it. Because the New York steak, it's not really known for having a lot of fat in there. And it's not as tender as a filet mignon. So that's why when you add something like the bone marrow on top, it makes it taste a little richer, which is always a very good thing. All right, now let's try the filet mignon. Here we go. It's always good, so tender. So this steak, it doesn't look like they put it in the oven just like a lot of those American steakhouses do. They grill it. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that because if they know what they're doing, taste is still great. It's tender, it's rich tasting, smoky too. Salt and pepper, very classic. This is like a very good all-American steak with some of that, like I said, like a little bit of that Middle Eastern twist to it. Carrots very sweet. Tastes like honey. I never had carrots like that before. Okay. Because I usually don't order baby carrots when I go to steakhouses. This is like the first time in a very long time. And you know what? Mushrooms are my kind of sides for a steakhouse. Perfect. All three of these sides have its own unique personalities. But if I just had the mushrooms, I think I would be so happy already. I'm just a mushroom type of a guy. Mushrooms and steak, perfect combination. Ending off with two awesome desserts. So this is the apple coffee cake with bourbon, pecan ice cream, and caramel glaze that is made in-house. Impressive. Along with almond cinnamon tuile, which is that cookie thing to the left. And this one is their baklava cheesecake. Nice. Buttercream icing, phyllo cigar, which is that thing right there. And crushed pistachio all around. I feel like after this, I won't have any more room to go eat desserts out somewhere in the city. That's a really good apple coffee cake. Anytime you add ice cream on top of it, it really completes the cake experience, I'm telling you. Oh, interesting. It's like a rolled up cracker that tastes just like sugar and cinnamon. It's a good combination of all this. Everything in here works so good together. That thing is so rich. That's a really awesome cheesecake. I've had quite a few steakhouses in my life, but this restaurant is definitely a memorable one. Every time I bit into something, I always felt like I was discovering something new, something very creative. So that's why it's kind of difficult for me to describe the flavors of what I'm eating, because all of it is so new and fascinating. So yes, when you are here in New Orleans and you're looking specifically for a steakhouse, don't double think it. Come here to Doris Metropolitan, because this is really going to be one of the best steakhouses that you're going to eat, not just in Louisiana, but all of the US. Day 4 is pretty much an all-day Cajun and Creole food tour, beginning with ACME Oyster House, which is one of the highest-rated seafood restaurants in New Orleans. This place is known for their oysters, both char-grilled and raw oysters. Many say that seafood is one of those things you absolutely need to try in New Orleans. So if you want a good place to start, especially Cajun style, then ACME Oyster House is your restaurant. It's a pretty sizable restaurant. It's very reddish, the color in here. And they got your full-on bar, which is right over here. And then they have the kitchen, which is right over there. And then on this side is where they have the char-grilled oysters. Oh yeah, here are the special char-grilled oysters. So all that is the Romano cheese that's on top of it. So yes, these are fresh oysters that's grilling. This is their famous garlic butter sauce. Look at that. Yeah, so this would go in the bottom as layer number 1, and then the Romano cheese is layer number 2, and then afterwards, to top it off, this sauce once again. These are big oysters, so it does take a little time to cook, but once it gets brown and crispy around the edges, I think that means it's pretty much done. Oh yeah, definitely get the dozen. Look at that presentation. Oh, see, that's the additional layer I was talking about. More of that butter sauce, that gravy. I think it's pretty obvious. The oysters is what you should get here, right? They have good raw oysters from what I heard. Char-grilled oysters, I'm gonna do a dozen of them. It's at market price today. And just to let you know, they have other Cajun foods on the menu. So if you don't want to get the oysters, there are a lot of good appetizers. See, you got the specialties like jambalaya, shrimp etouffee, even po' boys as well, the famous Louisiana sandwich. We got some fried platters along with your sides and desserts. There's a bar in this restaurant, so obviously they're gonna have a lot of stuff like cocktails, right? Yeah, along with your red and white wine. And this is it, their famous char-grilled oyster. So you can get them in half dozen, or you can get a dozen. Go all out and get the dozen. It's market price. So today, this whole thing costs $29.99, but you might want to call in to check in if you want to know the exact price of that day. Now, if you cannot get to ACME Oyster House and you want to sample a little bit of it, you can order some of the menu items on Gold Belly. So just go to the website so that you can have the food shipped to you. Some of the foods you cannot get on Gold Belly, such as this one. So this is one of the main reasons why you should make the trip out to an ACME Oyster House in New Orleans or the other locations they have around the state. Okay, first of all, I want to say that oyster is so fresh. It just melts in your mouth. And that really makes all the difference. And no complaints about everything else that's around it. Like the cheese is nice and smoky, salty, buttery too. It's like I'm just kind of scraping off the cheese just like that. Wow, this is so fun. Well, since there is a lot of this bread, maybe I'll be creative and put some of that oyster on top of it. Just like that. That's good. But you're really supposed to use this in order to get that butter. Good use of bread. I mean, what else are you supposed to use the bread for? Just don't eat it by itself, plain. Use it, dip it in the butter, put the oyster over it. Really make the best out of it. So yes, if you just get this one, you're good to go. But remember, they have a lot of other good Cajun foods on the menu too. I'm checking that out since I'm already here in New Orleans, right? And po' boys are also very popular at this restaurant. This, I heard, is a bestseller. They're fried peacemaker. So this has a combination of fried oysters and shrimp, which is seasoned to perfection with Tabasco-infused mayo. I mean, it's not a po' boy sandwich shop, but how bad can it be? I mean, we're here in New Orleans, right? The first thing I really taste is that Tabasco-infused mayo. So if you like your po' boy a little bit spicy, not terribly spicy, just a little bit, I think you're gonna like this one. If it's good, the baguette is nice and soft and kind of crisp too. The shrimp inside, just like the menu says, seasoned to perfection and perfectly crunchy. Yeah. Okay. This is my second time having po' boy on this trip. And there is this other side too, which has the fried oyster. So you see, you get shrimp and you get oysters in this one. That's why you should order it. I think if I had a choice between the shrimp or the oyster, I like the oysters. That's just me personally. I can't speak on your behalf, but if you want to try both of them, this order has both of them. You should get it. I don't think you're gonna regret it. It's like a very solid, pretty classic po' boy. It's what you think of when you eat a po' boy sandwich. And the eating adventure does not stop. I also got the ACME pupa, which is a French bread bowl that's filled with gumbo. Yeah, I gotta try the gumbo before I leave here, right? And there's also some rice in there. And this is something I'm trying for the first time on this trip. This is the seafood étouffée. They have a small size and they have a large size, but I decided to get the small. It's seasoned seafood in a buttery roux served over rice with crawfish, fried crawfish to be specific. I don't think I've ever seen a étouffée with fried crawfish inside. I know that there is regular crawfish and sometimes shrimp, but hey, let's try it. I heard it's good. Wow, that is so creamy. It almost tastes like the gravy that they use, like, you know, in the KFC, the mashed potatoes. I mean, something like along those lines. I can't really describe what it tastes like, but it definitely has a really good flavor. And with the rice, of course, it should be a very complete meal. This is definitely enough for one person, this small size. First ever time having it in Louisiana, and I like it. Oh yeah, taste of New Orleans right here. Now onto the gumbo. Can't forget about the gumbo, right? Yeah, for sure. The gumbo has a different flavor than the seafood étouffée. You can taste the spices in there. It's kind of bitter, also very earthy tasting. It's just something you have to experience for yourself, and I don't have too much experience in it. This is only one of very few times I've had gumbo in my life, but when you're in Louisiana, this is one of the things you need to try at least once, because you think of New Orleans, one of the foods that come to your mind is gumbo, right? That works too. So much carbs on here. So you got the rice and you got the bread. Wow. And of course, you cannot forget about dessert, right? The New Orleans bread pudding, which is New Orleans' most famous dessert. This is something you have to try when you come to this city, and it is my first time trying it today. Wow, that's pretty good. This bread pudding is kind of different than the ones I've had back home because I feel that's more smoother and it melts in your mouth more, so it's not as bready as some of the other ones I've had. Not as thick too. It's perfect. This is my kind of bread pudding. I love the raisins inside of it. The syrup is nice and sweet. The char-grilled oysters, for sure, #1 item you have to get. And even some of their other stuff like the po' boys and the etouffee, loved it. So good. So come here, you can get like a full-on Cajun dining experience with the oysters, with everything else. I think you're gonna like it. And when you are in New Orleans, you gotta try the beignet, right? You have to try Café Beignet. There's a few different locations around New Orleans, but since there's one right across the street from me, might as well check out this one, right? Since this is a cafe, they have a lot of your coffee options. You could get like the basic coffee, small and large size, but then you can also get Café au lait, which is a specialty drink. So I'm gonna try that. Oh yeah, sounds good. And just to let you know that this cafe doesn't just sell the beignets, they have a really big menu, all these breakfast foods. They got sandwiches, specialties. Yeah, you can have like a whole restaurant dining experience here. This cafe has a pretty long line. It just shows how popular it is. So you can take it to go, or you can sit down and dine in. And they do get the food out fairly quickly. So this is the Café au lait, which is the specialty half coffee and half boiled milk or steamed milk, something like that. It's supposed to be sweet too. There's some sugar inside of it. It tastes exactly how it sounds. It tastes like coffee, but then it tastes like milk at the same time, like that dairy flavor. And it's not super sweet, just a little sweet, but I suppose you could sweeten it up a little bit more, right? You know, that's just totally your preference. So here are my beignets. Look at how big this is. I didn't expect this. This is like the size of a big croissant or something like that. So once again, it is a Louisiana style donut. It has a lot of powdered sugar over it, and that's what makes it fun to eat. Yeah, so you can get all this for $4.75. That's actually quite reasonable. So yes, definitely get some other people to share this with. I mean, if you can eat the whole thing by yourself, then power to you. I feel this thing could be like a whole meal in of itself. You're definitely gonna have a powdered mustache once you bite into this. I like this. I like this a lot. Inside is very fluffy and spongy. And it's just slightly crispy on the top too. And then you got all that powdered sugar that adds the sweetness to it. It's a very messy dish. Just letting you know, powder's gonna get all over the table. It's probably gonna get all over the floor too. So if you see the powder there, that's what it is. They should really get the award for the biggest beignets in New Orleans. You guys know of a beignet that's bigger than this one? Drop that comment because I would love to know where I can get it. That is so good. This is the place to go. So yes, if you are looking for really good beignets around New Orleans, search out Café Beignet. They have at least 3 spots around New Orleans, so visit the one that's nearest you. A lot of us think that all the action is on Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, but if you guys are looking for a different kind of a scenery, something a little bit more urban, but still with touches of that Southern influence, Canal Street is pretty cool. You'll see a lot of these restaurants, shops, gift stores. Very nice time to stroll around, especially right now with this beautiful weather. And one of the things that you guys should consider doing when you are in New Orleans is to do a city tour. The easiest way to do it is to sign up for a bus tour, which goes for about 2 hours. Cajun Encounters is really the company to sign up with if you want to get this really nice tour of New Orleans. So what a convenient way to see everything especially if you are first time in New Orleans. So one of the stops is a cemetery called St. Louis Cemetery number 3. I don't know if you guys know, but cemeteries are quite a big thing, like a big attraction when you come to New Orleans. I know that sounds pretty morbid and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but if there's any city to sightsee cemeteries in the US, it's this city here in New Orleans. So you have about 20 minutes at this stop and it's quite an attraction. You have hundreds, if not thousands of tombs lined up on both sides of this walkway that goes for 2, maybe 3 blocks. And what I noticed that's very interesting about these tombs is how it's built above ground. So nothing is actually in the ground 6 feet below, like what you would normally think of graves, right? And that's because the entire city of New Orleans is below sea level. So if they were to have a really major flooding, maybe even more than Hurricane Katrina, they don't want these dead bodies just floating around. So they built it in a way where I guess it works out for them. I've never seen a concept like this before. It's almost like something out of a movie set. Pretty cool. So yes, it is definitely worth visiting when you are coming to New Orleans, but for sure you'll see it on one of these city tours. Remember that, Cajun Encounters. The next restaurant I'm going to be eating at is this one called Commander's Palace. This is one of the oldest, most popular fine dining restaurants that you can find in all of New Orleans. They specialize in Haute Creole cuisine, which is upscale Creole food. Now this is something I definitely need to check out, especially since I'm here in New Orleans, so we're gonna do it. Commander's Palace has been here since 1893, which makes it over 130 years old. In fact, you'll find a lot of these really old restaurants in New Orleans. Like I said, it is one of the most critically acclaimed fine dining restaurants you'll find in New Orleans. They've won 7 James Beard Awards, along with other awards that mark it as one of the go-to spots for fine dining in New Orleans. Although I'm here for dinner, they do have a pretty awesome jazz brunch, and I heard that on Thursdays and Fridays they have 25-cent martinis. I don't drink martinis, but if you guys are into that, then this is one of the greatest bargains that you're ever gonna get in life. So their menu looks like it is this one long sheet, the dinner menu. So I'm not here for brunch. If you want to see that, go on their website to check it out. You see, they got appetizers, pretty nice, good appetizers, as well as their soups and salads. Then also their entrees, like the pecan-crusted goldfish. I heard so many things about, so I'm gonna get that. And they have like steak and pork chop. Maybe I'll try that pork chop today too. And if you guys want course meals, they do have them as well. See, for $118, you could get this chef's tasting menu, and then you can do wine pairing for an additional $59. Or you can do something like Chef Meg's 3-course offerings. You get those entrees plus your choice of dessert. And I heard the Creole bread pudding souffle is like so good here. Wow, this is a really big kitchen. It's much bigger than I thought. It's almost like a mini factory here. We got all these chefs cooking up some really great Creole food. And this is Creole food like no other that I'm experiencing on this entire trip. Fine dining, which is always good with me. My first one came out. Yes, my appetizer, shrimp and tasso Hennequin. And this is a very popular appetizer here. So it's wild Louisiana white shrimp stuffed with the house-made tasso ham. So yes, there's meat inside. Pickled okra. Do you guys kind of see the okra on the side? Yes. Sweet red onions, 5 pepper jelly, and crystal hot sauce. So once again, since this is a fine dining restaurant, there's a little bit of a dress code. So remember that when you come here. It looks like it's a good restaurant for a lot of occasions. There's even a lot of groups and parties that come here, and all these rooms have different themes to it. They all have like these balloons as well. It's so festive here. Yeah, here in New Orleans, it's like everything is a festivity, right? That's why I'm so excited to try the food here as well. Award-winning. Wow. That shrimp is so nice and crunchy. Good cream sauce over it. And I do taste the ham too. It's smoky. I like it. But you know, this sauce is something that I don't think I've seen before. Look at that. It's like a glaze that goes over it. Very sticky. It's almost like their version of a sweet chili sauce. See, it even has okra in it too. I never had a dish like this before. This is quite an experience. And I suppose if you pair the pickled onions with the shrimp, it might taste even better. Oh yeah, you gotta definitely eat it with those onions. Not only does it have more crunchiness, but the sourness mixed with the sweet and spiciness of the sauce. This is good. Like I said, this is one of the most popular appetizers. So if you like shrimp, you should get it. It's a lot of the staff's favorite too. This one is called the Soup 111 on the menu. And I guess you can kind of assume why, because you get one of each soup. So it's like a tour of their famous soups. You can order these individually, so it comes in larger portions. But I want to taste a little bit of all the soups. So we got the turtle soup, which is this one. And their gumbo. This is, I think, my third time having gumbo on this trip. And then the soup du jour, which is the cauliflower brie. How nice. I can tell it's been really pureed very well. It's like so creamy. Oh, I like that one. Okay, that really, you can taste the cheese of that. That's so good. I mean, not in an overpowering way, but you can really subtly taste it, as well as with the cauliflower flavor. Oh man, this is really good. I like it. So far, I can tell you got to get the Soup 111. Now, this is gumbo in an award-winning restaurant. Let's see if that makes any difference. Wow, that has such a good taste. I like this gumbo because the spices aren't too strong. It's very pleasant, so it doesn't like attack your tongue all at the same time. It's very creamy, of course. That's what gumbo is like. I like it. I think this might actually be my favorite gumbo out of all the ones I've had so far on this trip. But the turtle soup, this one is the one everybody comes to get. They've even won awards for the best turtle soup in New Orleans. Oh, yeah, that's pretty tasty too. Wow, it tastes a little bit different than the gumbo. And the turtle soup definitely has its own personality too. Just like the gumbo, it is creamy, and you have the bits of that turtle meat inside of it. I don't know exactly how to describe what it tastes like. I think it's kind of like eating shreds of chicken, but it doesn't taste bad. So don't be afraid to try it, guys, if you've never had it before. Coming to New Orleans was actually my first time having turtle soup in the other restaurant, the Court of Two Sisters. But trying it at this restaurant, you know it's going to be a winner. Get the Soup 111. Try it all. I've never been so excited to eat soup in all my life than when I came here to this restaurant, and I'm pretty sure you will feel the same way too. Now here is one of the most popular entrees on the menu. This is the pecan crusted Gulf fish. So we have the jumbo lump crab that's over spiced New Roads pecan crusted fish with roasted corn. Yeah, I see the corn, asparagus, some of that grilled kale, melted leeks, and whiskey spiked crushed corn cream. This all sounds very fancy. Now this is the dish I've been looking forward to all night because I heard so much about this pecan crusted Gulf fish. They don't use almonds, they use their locally grown pecans. It's been a while since I've had a pecan crusted fish. Actually, I don't remember if I've had it before, but I'm gonna remember for a lifetime that I had it here in Louisiana at this restaurant. So that's cream corn puree that's all around the side. It tastes just like cream corn because it's nice and sweet and creamy. But there is actual corn with this kale that's all around. I just like corn. It's awesome. I love it, love it. But I also heard that this lump crab is mind-blowing, and I'm gonna find out right now. Okay, even if this dish did not have the fish, but just had a whole bunch of this lump crab, almost like a crab cake, I would love it. I would end the night and be like, yeah, this is a fabulous, fabulous restaurant. But the goldfish itself is the main attraction, so of course, gotta think highly of this one, right? That fish is so thick. Very tender fish too. Wow, this is a good dish. Yeah, so when you order one of these, you're gonna have enough food for one dish. So don't think you have to get like 5 of them to get full. They actually give you a pretty decent portion because you're thinking of fine dining, everything is like so tiny and they rip you off. No, they actually feed you some pretty decent amount of food. And if you guys like a pork chop, a very good one, they have one called the Char Grill Jerk Spice Duroc Pork Chop. Double cut Duroc pork over braised collard greens with caramelized plantains, pickled sweet peppers, and spiced rum, spiced Creola, Sella hot sauce, coconut cream. All these ingredients, wow, I want to see how they taste like together. Whoa, that coconut cream sauce with the hot sauce blend, that's mind-blowing. You know what it tastes like? It kind of tastes like Indian curry that's a little bit sweet. Oh, that's so good. I can already tell. I'm gonna really like this dish, and I already like the sauce so much. Oh man. But now here comes the main attraction, the pork chop. Wow, it's so tender. I rarely eat pork chops that is this thick. It's almost like a tomahawk steak, a mini version of it. Duroc is supposed to be a very high quality pork. So when you see something like that on the menu, especially in a fine dining restaurant, you have every reason to be excited. Because I don't eat pork chops that often when I go to restaurants, but I heard good things about it here. Open-minded, so might as well try it. Collard greens, especially with that coconut gravy all around the bottom. That thing makes anything taste good on this platter. Maybe I'll pair that pork chop with some of those crunchy plantains. You're not gonna find too many pork chop dishes like this back in LA. And when I say LA, I don't mean Louisiana. This is very exclusive to New Orleans at this restaurant. So yeah, if you're thinking of getting the pork chop, get it because it's one of the best I've had actually. All right, so this is the dessert, the famous Creole bread pudding souffle, the queen of Creole desserts. Yes, look at that bread pudding. It's all puffy. Okay, and there's supposed to be some sauce that goes on top of it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's that dome. It breaks so easily. It's so delicate. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, yeah. Woo. All right. They got some pretty nice drinks here as well. Peach Basil Cooler. This isn't an alcoholic drink, but it sounds pretty cool. Let me see what it tastes like. Peach flavored. Almost kind of it's like peach mixed with 7-Up or Sprite. I like that. Anything peach flavors, fine with me. And I heard incredible stories about this one. I am so excited to try this souffle. It's so light. Wow, I did not expect that. That whole thing just like evaporates in your mouth. It turns into liquid so quickly. That bread is really deep in there, so you gotta dig, almost like digging treasure. Wow, I haven't been this ecstatic about a dessert in a long time. So yes, when you are in New Orleans, or perhaps if you live close by and you still have not come to this legendary restaurant, come here. It's really good. On my last day, I headed over to Parkway Bakery and Tavern, which is what many say is the #1 place to get po' boy sandwiches. It's been around since 1911 and continues to run strong to this day as the destination for sandwiches in New Orleans. This is a good place to get both classic and house special po' boys, along with drinks and desserts. So as you can see, An all-around good eating experience. If you guys are wondering where po' boy comes from, it comes from the word poor boy, because these were the sandwiches that were served to a lot of the struggling Americans back in the very early 20th century. I'm not sure if it's the first, but I know it's one of the first to serve the po' boy sandwiches, and it's still here today. Legendary, iconic spot. Can't miss it. So you got some options here. You can order to go, or you can dine in. There's indoor seating and a lot of outdoor seating. And you notice that there are fans above me. That's because in the summertime especially, it can get very, very hot here. So it looks like I did come at a good time. These po' boys usually come with the pickles, the tomato, the lettuce. Very classic recipe. And I believe this is the James Brown one, their house specialty. Oh, look at that, we got some cheese on it too. Ooh, what do we got here?
That's the barbecue beef.
That's the barbecue beef, look at that. Wow. Barbecue sauce, I smell it, and there's some of that fried Gulf shrimp on it. That's the house sauce? Spicy mayo. Ooh, that's a big sandwich. It's like an assembly line back here. Everything is moving so fast. And I heard that when it gets busy at Parkway, yeah, it makes sense. They have all these people back here. If you get the large one, it's wrapped like this, whether you take it to go or whether you dine in at one of these seats. So I decided to try two of their famous sandwiches, beginning with this one, which is the James Brown, winner of the 2018 Po' Boy Festival. I am sold. So this is layered with slow cooked barbecue beef. You can kind of see in the bottom. Louisiana fried shrimp. So yes, you get kind of like a surf and turf here. Melted pepper jack cheese and topped with hot sauce mayo. Now here's something that I heard everybody gets here too, which is the Parkway's famous chicken and sausage jambalaya. Yes, jambalaya is one of the popular foods of New Orleans. Classic Louisiana dish that's perfectly seasoned with the Creole Trinity and local Cajun spices. Not unique to New Orleans, but I like sweet potato fries, so I'm gonna get some of this too. Oh yeah. FYI, there is no bakery here on site. Everything that I showed you on the menu is what they have here. The sandwiches, the drinks, some of the sides, but you're not really here for cakes, right? Or baked bread. I mean, they do have bread here. You see, it's part of the po' boy sandwich. Oh yeah. Look at this monstrous one. When I saw all this saucy barbecue beef in here, I already knew I was gonna like it. Any kind of a beef sandwich like this, it's gonna be a winner. This one is so good. Like, the beef is very tender. As you can see, it falls right apart. I think this might, I'm not sure if this is like a brisket or, but it's a very tender piece of meat with their house-made sauce, which is a little bit sweet and a little creamy, of course. Oh man, I can just eat the beef by itself. It's not a classic po' boy. It's a house specialty, but it's so worth ordering. Let me tell you, for sure you gotta get this one, especially if you're more into the meats like the beef. #1 choice from what I heard. And when you have your sandwiches, you have to have your bargs or bag. That's the way they pronounce it. It's a root beer. I haven't had a root beer in so many years. I'm more of a Coca-Cola type of person. Never was really that into root beer, but they said this pairs perfectly. This and that, or this with the catfish. You gotta have your root beer. You gotta get the whole New Orleans experience. They need to bring this to Los Angeles. Yeah, LA needs something like this. Maybe there is something like that there, but I just haven't found it yet. Do you guys know of any places? Drop that comment. I would love to hear your suggestions. But this sausage jambalaya, heard lots of great things about it. Yep, it's a winner. I think this is the second or third time that I've had jambalaya on this trip. But I think so far this is the best of them all. The other jambalayas that I had were good too, in its own way, because everybody has their own recipe. So this one is not quite as saucy or liquidy, which is what I like. And the sausages, big props because they use really big sausages. Like when you bite into it, like so much meat. Now in all honesty, jambalaya is not my favorite rice dish. Like if I had to pick between this and say like Asian fried rice, I probably would still pick that. But I can still really appreciate the flavor of this. And this one is the Louisiana catfish. So this is the first time that I'm trying fried catfish po' boy on this trip. So it's locally caught Southeast Louisiana catfish, flash fried golden brown, and this is a large size as well. So as you can see, it's a pretty classic po' boy. So it has the tomatoes, lettuce, pickle, almost like what you would put on a burger. And then the catfish itself, got the mayo spread. This is one of a few seafood ones they have on the menu. The fried oysters, I believe, is only Wednesday and Thursday, but catfish you can get pretty much any time. That catfish is really nice and crispy, very tender. See, it falls apart pretty easily, so you got to watch out, otherwise it's gonna fall all over the place. No, this thing is not the cleanest thing to eat, so I would say have a lot of napkins or carry the wrap in a way where you can position it and eat it without having to really dirty your hands. But you're here for the experience, so hands get dirty, as long as the food tastes great, that's all that matters. And the thing is, I'm not really that big of a sandwich fan. Back home, whether it's at Subway's or some nice gourmet sandwich shop, there's very few times that I order sandwiches. Like I think the only real time I get it is when I get those Vietnamese banh mi sandwiches. But when I'm here in this city, I'm definitely going to concentrate on eating sandwiches because this makes sandwiches more enjoyable. It makes me want to eat sandwiches more often. And how could you forget their classic French bread pudding? So this is a New Orleans favorite, really the dessert to get when you are in New Orleans. So it's made in-house and it's drenched in a sweet creme rum sauce. And it's about an inch thick, so you're definitely getting quite a lot for your money. Pretty creamy too. I don't think I've had bread pudding that was like this before. Not necessarily because it's this thick, but just the texture of it. The bread pudding that I've had before had more of like a really bready type of texture, which probably is more of like a lower quality. This one I feel is smoother, finer. That's why I see why it's so popular here. Although I like the taste of a classic po' boy, I really think you guys should try the James Brown. That one was pretty mind-blowing. Maybe it's just because I'm a beef type of a person, but I felt that when I ate that, I felt so like comforted. It's like so feel good, especially if you are like a beef fan. You should get that. But even if you get the catfish or the shrimp, I don't think you can go wrong with it, especially if you love authentic po' boys, because this is really one of the best places to get it. So remember that. Parkway Bakery and Tavern in Mid-City, north of the French Quarter area, where you're gonna get some of the best sandwiches in all of New Orleans and possibly all of Louisiana. Well, that's pretty much it with my 100 hours in New Orleans. Went by pretty quickly, as with all of my trips. Have you guys been to any of these restaurants or any of these tourist sites? Drop that comment because I would love to hear your stories and your suggestions. Well, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. I know it was pretty long, but hopefully you found it to be very helpful and insightful. You guys rock. I'll see you all in the next food and travel adventure.